the breakout star of the finals. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. We expected him to play well. But Jalen Williams getting 40 points, and you just see the confidence that he has. He's so darn good. I expect them to close it out tonight. All right, let's dig back into the Buss family selling the Lakers to Mark Walter in a deal that values the team at $10 billion. That's billion with a B. Luka Doncic, who can be a free agent next summer, supported the move this morning, posting that he looks forward to winning championships, that's plural, together. Under Walter's ownership, the Los Angeles Dodgers, Mike, they've made the playoffs every year, won the NL West in 11 of 12 seasons, appeared in 4 World Series, and they've won 2 of them. So, Mike, is it fair to expect Walter to improve the Lakers the way that he did the Dodgers?
Yeah. I don't care what Luka Doncic tweets. There's been way too much attention paid to that. What else is he supposed to say? I'm looking forward to third-place finishes. People need to just get a grip. Yep. And not everything is a big deal. Luka Doncic's tweets are no deal. Now, to go back to this ownership change, this is what Mark Walter does. And I'm not getting into the specifics of my bias in his favor. I know and respect him greatly. And this is what he does, not just in his sports projects, but other projects I'm aware of that I'm not going to get into. This is what happens on his watch, under his leadership, and with his group coming in. First of all, we're talking about a level of money. All the families and people who own sports franchises are rich in the normal terms that most people live their lives. And then some are richer and richest and richer yet. And the resources that Mark has, he's going to put those into play.
Yeah.
He's going to, the Lakers they're nobody's bare bones operation. They're not. But it has been a family, a wildly successful family-owned operation. That's not what Mark Walter does. Look at the Dodgers and what he's done there. That's going to happen with the Lakers. It's probably already happening. And everybody who's intimately involved and has knowledge of what goes on with Mark Walter's enterprises and with the Dodgers since he took over knows what's going to happen with the Lakers.
Yeah, and it's going to take time. So even if you look at this offseason, it's not going to be instant because, they can't even trade a first-round pick. The next one they could trade is either in 2031 or 32. So they're trying to improve, but they don't have as many assets. And if LeBron opts into his contract, we all expect that to happen, they could spend $5.7 million on a mid-level exception. So it's the assets. They still have to, acquire draft picks. They have to get under the cap eventually to try to get players. The one thing that he's got the Laker brand. It's in L.A. That jersey means something to a lot of people. There's a reason why every decade the Lakers get great players, whether it's Kareem, whether it's Kobe, Shaq, and then, of course, now, most recently, LeBron and Luka Doncic. What they'll do is the infrastructure around it. When Ty Lue comes in and they want to hire Ty Lue and he's looking for big money, Mark Walter's going to pay that money. He's not going to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. So I think in the long run, it'll help. But I think the one thing that people need to remember, it still is the Lakers, and I get it. They've only won 1 title since 2013. A lot of teams would sign up to win 1 title since 2013. So the way it's been run has been great. My question to you would be, there's a couple of basketball guys that are with the Dodgers, Stan Kasten and a guy that you know pretty well,
guy named
Magic
Irvin
Johnson.
Yeah.
So you tell me what's going to happen. Are they going to come down the street and be part of the Lakers?
He's going to have all the resources at his disposal, from infrastructure to just the appeal of this global brand it seemed like it was, the evaluation was $6 million a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And now it's $10 billion. $10 billion. Yes, to all your questions with what's going to happen with the Lakers, yes. And part of it, Frank, don't forget, is just judgment.
Yeah.
Right? The best in scouting, the best in
Analytics,
awareness, all the things you can
medical
have at
staff.
your disposal to be better with who you've got. Not to necessarily go out and get another player, but how about the players who are available to you now? To the curious decisions being made by Ace Bailey ahead of next week's NBA draft. Bailey reportedly canceled his visit with the Sixers, who hold the 3rd overall pick. In fact, the Rutgers star has yet to visit with any clubs, despite predictions that he could go anywhere from 3rd to 8th. So, Frank, how you making sense of what Bailey is doing 6 days from the draft?
To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He was a good college player, not a great college player. He and Dylan Harper were on a team that went 15 and 17. So they forget about getting to the tournament, going to a Final Four. They didn't even have a winning record. So now you're hearing that his camp, and I hear a lot of this is coming, mostly from the agent. They say they see him as a top 3 player. Well, the Sixers have the 3rd pick. So why wouldn't you want to meet with them? And then you're hearing he sees a clear path to stardom. And if he goes to a team like the Wizards, he sees an easier path. Mike, you've covered the NBA a long time. What is easy about being a star in the NBA? You're being somewhat delusional. If you went to a place like Philadelphia, first of all, well coached with Nick Nurse, you have good players. You might be playing in important games right from the start.
Right away.
I think his approach to this is it's not the right way to do it. I'll give you a little history lesson, too. Remember the kid Jackson from Kansas, Josh Jackson? The Celtics wanted to meet with him. They were flying to the West Coast for a workout. He canceled it. So they said, all right, well, we're not going to draft him. We'll draft Jason Tatum instead. We know where Tatum is.
Judgment.
Where's Jackson
Speaking
today?
of good judgment.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in a crotchety mood today, so I'm going to call this what it is. It's stupid, okay? Him and his advisors. And I saw what was being leaked about stardom.
Give me a break.
What that is just egomania. I hope it's the people above him who are stupidly advising him, or so it appears to me, and not him. And I hope he can separate himself from such stupid advice that he's going to come in and he's more worried about his own stardom than becoming a good and then a great player and contributing to a team. Philadelphia is a team that with health could turn things around. You could be part of something. Instead, Frank, and you're close to somebody that you host a podcast with, sometimes that we are aware of AAU culture.
Yeah.
And the notion that you can be a star. I want to be a star.
Yep.
And in the pros, I don't want that kid anywhere near me until he can change his attitude or until he can look with some maturity at the dopes advising him, saying, I don't need to be a part of that. So this whole approach, maybe it was misguided, maybe it's overstated, maybe I'll leave them a little room to turn and tuck and run. As stated as is, it's stupid and counterproductive. And if that person tried to advise me on anything, I would say, get the hell out now.
All right, couple of things. Number one, it's a radio show, not a podcast. Anybody can have a podcast. Here's what worries me about, not making the tournament. You could say it's not a big deal, but he did have Dylan Harper on his team as well. Like, I remember Markelle Fultz. Who's Markelle Fultz? He went 9-22 at Washington his 1 year. Even Ben Simmons, who was a number 1 overall pick. LSU that year went 19-14. This Rutgers team, and I get it, Ace Bailey, he's young, but you're going to come into the league, and you want an easy path to stardom? It's the NBA.
Frank, I'm
you're
not even
going up
talking
against
about
men.
I'm not even talking about not making it. Anybody can not make it. That's forgiven. The foolishness of talking about stardom before you even drafted.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The obnoxiousness.
Yep.
Somebody needs to turn it down in that camp right now.
You're right.
Frank and I have written millions of words in our lives, so we got plenty to choose from. And what's the word? What's first?
LeBron's concerns about ring culture are blank.
Now, this is day 2 of us talking about LeBron and Steve Nash, and I believe their podcast, not their radio show.
Podcast, yes.
And talking about, ring culture. Frank and LeBron saying you can't just assign who's greatest by the number of championship rings. And, of course, we know that LeBron's got 4 of them. So does Steph Curry, but Michael Jordan's got 6 and Bill Russell's got 11 or whatever it is. Kobe and Shaq, 5 and 4 respectively. But the reason why, and LeBron is so thoughtful in these conversations, I'm lucky to have had many of them. He's always thoughtful. He's the most thoughtful guy out there. But when you have conversations with people over 20 years, you got to remember what you say. And because LeBron himself said that one right there, meaning the championship win with Cleveland over Golden State, made me the greatest of all time, that makes it worthless. My word is worthless.
Wow.
You can't come back later. You got to remember what you say. You and I have to remember what we say. So LeBron can say now you shouldn't do it, and I agree with him. But how does that square with what he said when he said it made me the greatest of all time? Because I won that one there. Worthless. That's what it is. It's as great as he is to talk to.
All right, mine is going to be revealing because I think he knows where he is. He's going to be 41 in December. He knows he's not going to get to 6. So all the guys that you mentioned, that means something to him. Kobe, Kareem, but this is about one guy. It's about Michael Jordan, who's got 6 of them. He probably knows he's not going to get that, so he's saying, if you're going to view greatest, don't just look at the rings. By the way, if it was a radio show, they could have gone back at him and said, hey, you said that after you won in Cleveland. That's the difference, Mike. But who are the people going around saying, like, if you haven't won a championship, you're not an all-time great? I think Dan Marino is. Your boy Ernie Banks is. Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, plenty of guys haven't won.
Barkley, Malone, Stockton.
Patrick Ewing.
Yes.
Ewing, Reggie Miller. They were great players. They didn't win. A lot of things factor into it. Absolutely.
Razorbacks went up 5-3 on LSU in the bottom of the 9th last night with a trip to the Men's College World Series Finals on the line, but with one out in the bottom of the frame. Arkansas misplayed a grounder to first, one on. A check swing ruling put another Tiger on. A grounder to the left side might have turned 2 into the game, but the Arkansas shortstop forced the lead runner at third instead. Luis Hernandez then hit a liner to left that could have ended it.
Yeah.
But left fielder Charles Delavan slipped. The ball caromed off his shoulder. Tie game. Jared Jones then walked it off with a single off the second baseman's glove. Heartbreak. LSU 6-5 advances to take on Coastal Carolina in the final.
You said it, heartbreak. The hardest outs to get are those last 3. Those were tough plays in the field, but makeable plays. You got to make those plays. Man. You're in the World Series.
It's tough to watch, and I watched some of that. Let's go to the big finish real quickly. 5-time Pro Bowl linebacker C.J. Mosley retires from the NFL. Wow, how are you going to remember his career?
And he announced it on his 33rd birthday. Remember, won a national championship, 2 national championships at Alabama. The Rockets and Ime Udoka have agreed to a long-term extension. That makes sense.
Yeah, given what Udoka's done with the Celtics and now the Rockets, yeah. Especially that 2 seed last year. Real Madrid star Kylian Mbappe has been hospitalized with acute gastroenteritis. Your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, they struggled without him, and this tournament needs him. So Real Madrid really could use Mbappe. He'll play at some point. The Panthers reportedly damaged the Stanley Cup in their celebration. Big deal?
No, that's what they do. Every team does it. Last one, the Nats snapped their 11-game losing streak. Yanks, their 6-game losing streak this afternoon. Bigger deal, real quick.
It's the Nats. By the way, the Mets have lost 5 straight entering tonight's game against the Braves. We're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads. Okay, Frank, what would an NBA title mean for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I think it puts him, in a different class, and let's take it a step further. If he ends up being Finals MVP, that's something that's only happened 15 times before. Michael Jordan did it 4 times. LeBron did it twice. Bird, Magic, Kareem, they did it 1 time. Tim Duncan did it once. So right away, you're in a different stratosphere. But for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to have the regular season that he did, 68 wins, and 1 more win here will give him 16 playoff wins. And 2 games are going to stick out for me. Game 4 on the road against Denver. They're in danger of falling behind 3-1. They're trailing in the 4th quarter. He was lights out. What happened in the NBA Finals? Game 4, 4th quarter, they're trailing, again, lights out. So in big moments, he came through. So it's not just about these awards that he could get. He's delivered when it's mattered the most. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been a star all season. This just stamps him.
Yeah, it does. It gilds the resume, Frank. It does. Look, you can be a star. You can go on to be one later without a ring.
Yep.
We know that from our friends Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley and Allen Iverson. They're big stars and did not win an NBA title. But far from the stardom, which is like one club, there's another club and guys with that championship ring. I'm not even going to go to MVP of a series. I'm just going to go to winning a championship. It's something that when you see them, if you go to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I know you've been, and the guys talk about winning a championship, and they've got, whether it's just 1 ring or more. And we know in the NBA, like the NHL, the truly great players seem to win multiples.
Yeah.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is young enough and good enough to do that. Let me mention, he is not a what are you going to do for me kind of guy. Anybody paying attention this year, he is exactly what the NBA should want from its star and a champion. I mean, the guy is never, he doesn't exude any selfishness at all. No ego. What is it going to do for kids in Canada who want to grow up to be like, play like, sound like, look like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And he is leading an army of young, great, talented Canadian basketball players, the lower 50 better watch out for that group coming when we get to future Olympics if that trend continues. But Frank, he seems to be a young man who has it all.
Yeah.
And if he gets this championship, whether it's tonight or Sunday, he's going to have it all.
You know, the Lakers have made a lot of news in the last 48 hours, but remember, Oklahoma City's not going anywhere. They got young players, they have assets, and they have SGA. That's it. We're done. Back to you.